Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Jumper T18. This is getting quite confusing because it looks very similar to the recently released Radiomaster TX16S. But as I've mentioned previously on the channel, the partners over at Jumper went their separate ways to create their version of what they wanted from a transmitter. So now we have all of these similar products. In fact, there are three variants of the T18. This is the Pro version, but there's also one just called the T18, and then there's the Lite version. So what is the benefit of any of these transmitters? Well, they have a multi-protocol chip inside, which means that you can practically bind to any RC protocol that you can think of, including FrSky D16 and D8. And for protocols or frequencies not supported by the internal chip, there is a JR module on the back for things like Crossfire and UHF. But the T18 and the T18 Pro are different because up until now, the multi-protocol chips only supported 2.4 GHz frequencies. But on the T18 and T18 Pro, they have added an extra chip supporting 868 and 915 MHz, meaning that they support the FrSky R9 long-range system out of the box. And technically, it's the same chip as Crossfire, but I'd be very surprised if they make that available. There are a couple of catches with the integrated R9 system though. First of all, in order to add it, the main detachable antenna is only for 868 and 915 MHz, which means that the 2.4 GHz antenna is non-detachable and hidden away inside, which I guess isn't a big deal. I mean, the antenna on the Radiomaster isn't detachable either, but it does look more robust than the PCB antenna on the T18. And I have to say, for a long-range antenna, shouldn't it be a little bit longer than this? I mean, it's almost identical in length against a 2.4 GHz antenna. You can see the one that came with my R9 system is much longer. So the only version of the T18 with a detachable external 2.4 GHz antenna is the Lite version because it doesn't have the built-in long-range chip, which might be a better choice because a lot of people who are into long-range already have the external long-range modules. Alright, the Lite version doesn't come with the hydro-dipped carbon casing, but that's not a deal breaker for me. The Lite version is the cheapest of the lot as well, but it still has Hall effect gimbals. In fact, if you look at this chart, those are the only two differences between the Lite version and what I guess you would call the middle version of the T18. And at the making of this video, the Failsafe on the built-in R9 isn't working either. But that's something the multi-module guys are working on over at GitHub, so fingers crossed it gets fixed soon. When it's working, it outputs 300 milliwatt, which is ample for long range. Not a lot has changed ergonomically other than being able to fold the handle down at the back. There are two on buttons, but you don't have to press both at the same time for it to turn on, so I guess it just has two on buttons. Then everything lights up like a Christmas tree, but you can turn the back lights off in the model menu if you don't like them. It's running OpenTX, although the T18 isn't listed in Companion yet, and at the making of this video, all three versions don't have a touchscreen panel. The way that they have worded it in the spec sheet makes it sound like they do, but it lists the panels of having a resolution of 480 by 272, but then in brackets it says 800 by 480 HD IPS touchscreen interface reserved, expected to be supported by OpenTX 2.4 and above, which actually means when the touchscreen is available in OpenTX 2.4, you will have to buy new panels if you want them to be touchscreen. But I don't see the point of touchscreen on a transmitter myself anyways, said the BlackBerry to the iPhone. So what do you get with the Pro version? Well, the only difference is the gimbals. You see, I fly Mode 1 and they had sent me the Mode 2 version, so I had to take the back off. And it was just as much of a pain as the Jumper T16 Pro because they had physically removed the spring on the throttle side. So I had to unscrew everything and tediously swap it over. Now the specs say that the gimbals are using RDC90 sensors made by Alps, which they are because I can see them, but I think this has caused some people to assume that they are some sort of super high-grade Futaba gimbal, because for about 10 years Futaba have used RDC90 sensors in some of their transmitters, but I've taken the T18 gimbal apart and it's the same one that's in the T16 with resistive position sensors, aka RDC90s instead of Hall magnets, which I find interesting because while RDC90 sensors are still used, they have a physical contact, and I only know this from flying Futaba radios for 20 odd years. So while I wouldn't call the RDC90 sensors an upgrade from Hall effect gimbals, you will probably end up buying a new transmitter before needing to replace them. The throw of the sticks feels about the same as the Radiomaster, and the springs are nice and tense, but if you don't like that, you can loosen them up by removing the rubber backing and loosening the screws. All of the T18s are no longer using flat flexible ribbon cables as part of the internal design. These were causing problems due to how fragile they are. Instead, they have opted for JST type connectors, which I'm told will be twisted together on the production version. So what about the sliders? Well, I'm afraid they feel almost the same as the T16 Pro. I can kind of feel a notch in the middle, but if you rely on these, then the X9D or the Radiomaster is the one to get. The potentiometers on the top have a nice notch in the middle, but they aren't positioned very well for FPV. I do still struggle to get my hands around the bottom of the transmitter due to the screen, but I've recently started using a lanyard which they provide in the package. What I do like is that even though the transmitter balance is perfect out of the box, they have still provided some different holes in case adding a module changes the balance point. The battery bay is the same size as the T16, but something that has gotten worse is the micro SD card placement. This one came with a 4GB micro SD card, but Jumper say they've been having issues with it, and the customer version will have a 1GB micro SD card. But it's almost impossible to get out. I had to use some tweezers. It's important to note that the transmitter only supports a 2S voltage, and unfortunately there is no built-in charge circuit. The provided cable and USB-C port at the top is for updating the firmware, and it can be used as a joystick to use with a simulator as well. Next to that is the trainer port. There isn't an audio out socket, but there's a big loudspeaker in the middle which they have changed the shape of. Again, an S-port socket would have been useful for flashing FrSky receivers, but you could argue that FrSky should have a better and easier way of upgrading or flashing their receivers without having to buy all new gear and locking everyone else out of their system. All of the buttons are in the same place as the T16, and the scroll wheel is still plastic. The buttons are labelled and some of them even light up, but these two lights on the left make the buttons harder to read, so I don't know why they have done that, but if you are upgrading from the T16, then at least everything is in the same place if you have developed some muscle memory. All of the switches are in the same place as the X9D, which I'm used to, and the 6-position buttons are still there from the T16. The speaker doesn't make any noise when Crossfire or UHF is plugged into the module in the back. I get asked, can it bind to this and can it bind to that? So I always point people to the Deviation TX website because that's where the protocol hacking started. The OpenTX slice of hacked protocols is not as extensive as Deviation TX because they add new protocols all of the time, but they do have a spreadsheet on their website that tells you which models share the same protocols. But the main players such as FrSky, FlySky and Spectrum are all supported apart from the FrSky Access protocol. With the Pro package you get a nice carry case, a screen protector and some spare gimbal parts. I don't think the carry case comes with the Lite version, but you can buy it separately. So you probably want to know which one I'd choose between the Radio Master and the jumper, and I think for my personal needs I'd choose the Radio Master, mainly because I don't use R9 anyways. I use Crossfire unless it's something for the channel, and I think the built-in charge circuit also swings it for me with the Radio Master. But if I was to pick the T18, then I'd go for the Lite version because it's cheaper, it still has the Hall effect gimbals, and I think the Alp sensors aren't worth the extra price. So there you go, that is my take on the Jumper T18. I'll put links in the video description as well as a pinned comment if you wish to buy one. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.